Alrighty. I want to be really real and honest with you about something, and you're probably not going to like it. If you've been in the industry for a while, you'll have a bit of a grip on this, but if you're new, this might be a bit of a shock. So, filling out applications to events, like public events, can kind of feel a little bit like you're becoming one of those sleazy door knocking, gas and electricity, solar upgrade people. Now, when you bought a food truck, or if you're thinking about buying a food truck, it's probably the last thing you thought you would end up doing. You're just going to be in a park selling food to people at a festival, having a great time. What happens is, before you get on your feet, a lot of your time can get spent enduring a lot of the pain that goes into knocking on a lot of doors. Now, of course, things would be 1,000 times easier if events would just accept the damn applications. But unfortunately, not every event is going to accept your application. And similarly, not everyone's going to upgrade their solar. It's like 1 in 70 people will say yes from knocking on doors. So the first step to getting over this kind of emotional, mental, and probably physical hurdle is to accept that not every event is going to say yes. And a lot of people have a hard time with this. So if you can get over that, that's great. You're already ahead of a lot of people. But what you are probably wondering is, how can my outreach become more efficient? So instead of just knocking on door after door after door, I can get a higher percentage of events to say yes. So what we're going to do in this session is break down what we're currently doing and what we might be able to do about, as in make our outreach stronger, how we can get into more events, which leads us to submitting the perfect application. Getting into events consistently comes down to two things: quality and volume of your applications. Now, just say you're submitting stacks of applications, but they might be great. You might be rushing them, you're not putting much effort into them. Well, you got heaps of volume, but maybe they're not very high quality. You're going to come in about a year. And similarly, if you're submitting really high quality applications, but not many, you're about there. And well, if you've got just crappy applications altogether and you're hardly submitting any, which is stacks of people, actually, let's make him a red. It's unlikely you're really going anywhere. The acceptance ceiling all comes down to your offer. If you've got a unique offer, you can get away with not doing too much. As in, you don't have to have a very high quality of application, and you can just submit a lot of them. It's going to work. This, by the way, is when you're accepted. So if you've got a unique offer, you're going to break through the ceiling and get accepted pretty easily. Similarly, if you've got a high quality application, not many of them, you're going to get accepted. Where things get tricky is if you're trying to sell donuts, burgers, something that's super popular at the event that you're applying to, the stakes are raised. Meaning there's almost no amount of applications that you could submit in reasonable time, or it's just going to become stupidly inefficient for you to be able to get accepted to events. If you've got a really common offer and you're submitting stacks of them and it's pretty low quality, you're just never going to get there. It's always going to be out of reach. And same thing with if you've got a really high quality application. So you got to do both. Now, the most efficient way to do this, if you've got a unique offer as well, So if your applications are pretty good, you're submitting a decent amount of them, not stacks, your unique offer is going to get accepted. Got a common offer, if your application is epic, and you're submitting a decent, like a lot of them, well, you're gonna start getting accepted into more events. Reason I explain all this is to paint the picture between how hard it is to get into events with a common offer versus a unique offer. So the caveat is this perfect application is only going to work well with a unique offer. Does that make sense? Awesome. So in short, you know how to submit a higher volume of applications. If you don't, then you need to get good at finding events, which is another topic. Submitting higher quality applications, perfect applications, is what we're going to be focusing on here. And ideally, we want to be submitting the perfect application every single time. So, as I said, this is only going to work well if you've got a unique offer, or if you're almost certain nobody is offering the same thing as you, which you almost can't be sure. So, basically, if you're sitting there scratching your head at the moment, like, how on earth can I ever get into events? I just can't do it. The real recipe is this right here. Sorry, that's terrible. That's the recipe for getting accepted. Unique offer, perfect application, and volume. So hopefully after this, you'll understand how to submit the perfect application. Cool? All right, now, the really important thing to understand is events only have limited spots at their event. And it's like a giant pie. They're only going to share it around so much, because most people know if they've got too many caterers, all the caterers are going to get angry, they're not going to make money, and it doesn't work. So they need to fill it evenly and responsibly. That's their job. And it's our job to realize what the missing pieces of the pie are. So we're just going to make up a few foods here. We'll say chips on a stick, like the tornado potato thing. Calamari, just popular foods that people are generally going to apply for with their food truck, and they're naturally going to go looking for the event. Say hot dogs, souvlaki, super popular, pizza, coffee, What else is there? Burgers. And we'll say Mexican. So this is a pretty general overview of, from a markets manager perspective, what they're looking for. And this is really critical if you want to work out, well, how to find something that they're looking for. I.e., if you knew they were missing Mexican, and you've got a Mexican truck, and you didn't apply, well, instead of thinking, oh, that's a really crazy event, like it's not even worth filling out the really long application, you're definitely going to apply because there's a high chance you're going to get accepted. The point I'm trying to make here is if you've got a unique offer, they could, instead of them saying, you know what, let's put another burgers in, another Mexican, and another souvlaki, they might say, instead of hot dogs, let's put Sam's Avo Shack in. That'll be something different. It looks cool, unique, exciting. Will be good for event patrons. And you've got a really fighting chance with your unique offer and concept. Hope that makes sense. So once you're ready to submit applications, you've got your unique offer, you're feeling confident, you know the volume, quality, paradox thing. Obviously, we need to submit this perfect application. So this comes down to a few elements, all of which are in the Bulletproof Applications template. If you haven't got that, download it just on our website. You'll send us an email and we'll shoot it off to you. But basically, we've got hero photos, the questions, stop proofing your brand, the beautiful menu, and the final check. Now, there's lots of elements to a perfect application, but these are the 5 elements that we see as critical elements. Once you've clarified your unique offer, you're submitting lots of applications. This is how you can go and submit really high quality applications that have a high chance of being accepted. So first of all, the hero photo. Well, events want to know, what's your shop going to look like at our event? What's the contribution? Are we happy with how it looks at our event? So we need to get a photo of your shop front. We need to get a photo of your products. So, for example, in my Avo Shack shop, we sell wraps. So let's do our chicken Avo wrap. And let's say our fries with guac. It sounds like a bizarre novelty. It's sometimes the biggest seller. We sell more of that than some burgers. So you'd be surprised when you invent a novelty product that excites people, it can really take off. Now, the reason we've got this grid here is because it's all well and good for you to say, yeah, sure, I'll get a photo of my shop front and my chicken Avo wrap and my fries with guac. But what often happens is it either doesn't get done or it doesn't get done well. And a hero photo needs to really look like a hero photo. It's a critical element, and you've got to put some serious thought and work into it. For example, if you just hire a photographer and say, yeah, deal with it, does it look good in real life? Like, is it actually photo worthy? So you want to try and, I'm not saying you have to get a photographer, you want to map out a game plan for how this is actually going to take place. So who's going to be involved in doing this? Most of the time, it'll be you. So Sam. And if you've got a relative or a staff member or someone that's great at taking photos, throw them in there. So let's just say, I don't have any great photographers on the team anymore, but we used to have someone on our team. I'll call him Jack. Jack's great at taking photos. Now, let's do this. The shop front. Well, we're gonna have an event for 2 weeks. So let's say on the 18th of Feb. Where will X event? How? I can't get to how. How is what camera are you going to use? You got to think of the little things, or otherwise, like I said, it won't get done, or it won't get done well. So, Jack to bring SLR. Camera. You get the idea. You don't need an SLR camera. iPhones are great. Whatever camera you got will likely do the job more than adequately. And if you're going to knock out all these in the one day, that's fine. Just make sure you actually do it. Okay? Now the questions, a lot of people can't stand the questions, and they can't stand them so much that they never quite have an answer they're happy with. And as a result, they write the answer to their question every single time they do an application, and the quality is not retained. They're in a hurry, and it takes them longer to do an application, which leads to them submitting a lower volume of applications, which is not what we want. So, branded bio, you want to think of something that they want at their event, something exciting. Exciting, professional, fun, and encapsulate your uniqueness. It's your opportunity, the questions, to stand out from the crowd. A lot of people will just give as short and sharp answers as they really have time for or could think of, or it's usually time. It's something that's not, there's no effort that goes into it, and as a result, they lose the opportunity to really display and portray their competence. So your environmental ethos, look, same in our bullet applications guide. We've got a beautiful little spiel for an environmental ethos. Please don't copy it, but it's really epic. Just follow along those lines. What you do with your business that makes it contribute to being good for the environment, and obviously events are going to love that. Safety is not always going to be required, but they'll sometimes ask you to submit a SWIMS report. If you don't know what that is, it's a safe work method statement. with things like this, you want to make sure you fill it out, save it in an organized spot so you've got it ready for your next event that asks for it. Professionalism is something that events won't ask for, but if you're reaching out to an event, like that's a key factor of what they want in a caterer. So communication, timely communication. Food hygiene standard. X years experience. All these things. And of course, you might have only had your food truck for 6 months, but you might have been a chef for 20 years. So just throw all these things into an email. You're reaching out to them. Make yourself sound like a professional, and it's going to increase the chance they're going to want to work with you. Stock proofing your brand is, think of when you think about when you've submitted your application to an event and they're going through. There's a few things that they can't really go down the garden path from, like your hero photos as they are, your questions, that's it. We'll get to your menu, but this is stuff where they can really go down a rabbit hole online. So I'm not going to complete this worksheet with you now, but you want to look at your Instagram, your website, your email signature, anything that's like in space that they can go looking for, and just make a to-do list of what you want to do to add stuff and what you want to do to remove it. And things to add might be your hero photos. They should be really prominent in your Instagram, Facebook, website, whatever it is you're sending to them in your in your business details, links and stuff. You want them to be able to access it. So critical to be able to stock proof your brand. So a beautiful menu is exactly what it sounds like. It's a beautiful menu that events want to let into their event. So the way we see it, a beautiful menu is made up of 3 factors. It's exciting, on brand, and super clear. If you can nail these 3 things in your beautiful menu, being a PDF you're going to send events, what does that say about what you're going to present to the event? Right? So these are the 3 things you want to think about when you're building your PDF menu. Now the final check, like this is my favorite. If you've got an event that's, you've got food truck 1 here, food truck 2 here. Now food truck 1 submitted all their documents, the uploads they'll ask for, like certificates, and could be a stack of stuff. And By the way, these guys are selling the same thing. Food truck 1 and 2, food truck 2. Food truck 2 has submitted 1, 2, 3, but not number 4 document. Oh, that was terrible. I don't know if you've seen that site before, but guess who wins? You might have done everything the same, but for them to follow up with number 2, they've got to send an email. It's going to throw them back, and time is everything to events. So the final check is where we go through and check everything. After every single application, go through, check every little submission, and if you have missed something, well, you'll find it in 20 seconds or something. Otherwise, you've submitted the entire application for nothing. Potentially, of course. So that's everything for today. I hope. So that's everything for the perfect application. Hope that all makes sense. How to build a. So once you've done the final check, can you hear? Here are photos, questions, stock proof to your brand, beautiful menu, final check. By the way, all of these things seem like quick things to do. They're not. Here are photos take time. Questions it shouldn't take you too long. It's going to take you time to tweak them and feel good about your brand bio, really connect with it. Stock proofing your brand takes time. Beautiful menu, should be pretty quick. Final check, you can start today. But I hope from these critical elements and these exercises, it makes sense how you can start submitting perfect applications in high volume and get accepted to more events. Hope that was helpful. Take care. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.